Welcome back to the Avenue. I am so excited and happy that you joined me today because on this channel, we just talk about topics that simply make money make sense. Today is no exception. You're going to be glad you're here because we're going to talk about how to finance your best life. Okay, we all want that best life somewhere down the road, or even now we want the best life. But we're going to talk about exactly how to finance it so when it comes, you'll have the money for it. You won't have to worry about it. Stay tuned.
She's a go-getter, alright. What a beautiful sight. Anything she sets her mind to, she stays on it day and night. She writes the checks, she signs the deeds. She plants the fruitful seeds and still finds the time to meet all her family needs.
First up, before we even discuss how we're going to finance this best life, we need to know what our best life is. At retirement or when you finish working, if that's what you're calling your best life, we need to define exactly what it is. It could be traveling, could be spending time at home, it could be spending time with the grandkids, spending time with your children. It could be anything, but what does it mean for you? You need to be super clear on this because if you're not clear, you don't know what amount of money you may need to finance what you're calling your best life. It could just be a peaceful life, traveling around, spending low budget money, that type of thing. But whatever it is, it needs to be that for you and not for anyone else. So simply sit down and define what your best life is, and then we can go from there. I know for the most part on this channel, we're focused on finances and getting to the money, making the money work for us and all of that. But financing your best life and defining your best life, it's more than just about money. A couple of things you want to consider. You want to consider your health. That's one thing you want to consider. You want to consider your home. You want to consider relationships. You want to consider your work and purpose. And lastly, you want to consider your freedom and legacy. This I call your best life blueprint because it's various areas, touching various areas of your life other than just the finances. You want to look at all of these, and all of these combined will give you a better blueprint of where you want to do, where you want to go, and what your best life looks like as you define it. One other little nugget that I want to include here is your best life may not be the expensive life or the most expensive life, but it is the rich life. And there is a difference between the two. Living the rich life, that supports your goals, what makes you feel better, what supports what you really want to do. The rich life could be getting massages, relaxing, taking time off for yourself. That is the rich life. The expensive life is just spending a lot of money on things that maybe you want to do, but you're kind of impressing others with that. But we want to focus on the rich life, what we really want out of life, what will make us feel the best, what makes us feel rich and support our goals. That's another tip that I wanted to drop on you. Okay, I hope you're ready for this. Financing your best life means you have to not only pay the bills that you currently have, but you need to pay more than just the bills. You need accounts for other things that you want to do in your best life. So we know paying the mortgage, paying the car note, paying any kind of loans that you have, those are the bills, utilities, household bills. Those are things that you have to pay right now, right? But you also want to sock money other places, pay yourself other places that will help you finance your best life. So once we get our bills under control and within a good range, and that extra money, and I'm saying extra money that we have left over with that gap that I'll explain later, the money that we have left over, we need to start putting it in other areas. It may be travel. It may be a health fund. It may be anything like that. It may be buying another house, a vacation home. It may be a car. It may be buying a boat. These are the things we want to start putting money towards your best life. A lot of people, travel is it. They want to take trips. They want to go visit people. So they start putting money toward that. And we don't know when you get there how much it's going to be. But if you have money saved up for that, you can calculate, with this $20,000 I have, I can go on so many trips a year. Or if I want to take a big trip over to Europe or somewhere, I can do that. With the $50,000 I have saved, this is what I can do with that. But you have that fund and that account out there beyond just your bills that you're financing your best life. So that's something that we definitely need to look at once we define what our best life looks like. It is so important to specify these accounts, whatever you want them to be. And I'm going to name a few for you. So if you want to write those down and start saving toward that, you can. But being specific with the account, because once you name the account, that money goes into that account, and that's the only thing that that money is spent for. That money has a mission. If you do not give your money a mission, you guys, other places will. The grocery store will give your money a mission. The Visa card will give your money a mission. You know, J.C. Penney's dealers will give your money a mission if you don't make and give your money a mission. Once you label whatever that account is, you give it a mission and then you put it there. That is what that money is working toward. That is what that money is established for. Now, some of the other accounts that you may want to consider is a freedom account. That's something that you can do, spend freely. An opportunity account. If an opportunity comes available for you, you will have money in that. What about a family blessing account where you want to bless other people? So you can get that account together for that. And one that we often forget is a retirement bridge account. If we want to retire a little earlier, then maybe Social Security will be around or the 401k kicks in. We need a bridge account to pay for those years until we get to the place where we can start drawing money from our retirement account. Don't forget about that. You can retire as early as you want to, but you need money to carry you through until you get to that place where you can start taking money from those retirement accounts. So let's keep this all in mind as we're planning for the future and financing our life for the future. One tip that I can give you when you're looking at your money is to maybe consider a life return on investment idea. Because whatever, especially if it's going to be a big expense, what is going to be your return on investment? Some people put pools in the backyard, but their return on investment is the family enjoying that pool, people coming over to the house enjoying that pool. I will tell you this, I made an investment, you all know, a couple of years ago, I bought a car, and the vehicle was not inexpensive, I'll say. But I purchased it because I was looking for my return on investment. Number one, my parents are getting older, so I have a truck, but they needed to be able to get in these vehicles that I'm buying, and it's difficult for my mom, especially, to jump up in or to get up in the truck. And so with this SUV that I bought, it's easier for her to get in it. Also, this SUV it's hybrid, so it uses gas and it uses electricity. I knew that with gas, it was going to be the top grade gas, and that's going to be the most expensive gas. So I bought the vehicle that would get me to my parents' house and back home totally on electricity. A much more affordable way to do that. But I also knew, because sometimes in Texas we have the grid issue where the electricity goes out in the wintertime, that I needed gas to operate the vehicle if for some reason I was not able to do the electricity. Plus, on long trips, it'll take you a certain amount on the electricity, but then it switches over to gas, and on long trips back and forth to Dallas or San Antonio or Houston, somewhere like that, I would need gas. So it all made sense. It made my life easier. It was accomplishing the goals that I wanted to accomplish for my parents and for the things that I wanted to do, my frequent trips over to their house. So everything got easier for me. So yes, it was worth the money that I spent on it. But for these, return on investment, make sure that you're calculating that before you make especially any major purchases. Now it's time to talk about the freedom gap. And that gap, I often talk about it. It is between what you earn and actually what you are spending out of your household. That gap needs to get wider in the positive way. In other words, if you earn $10,000 and you're spending $10,000, there is no gap there. You're using all your money to pay bills or support your household. The gap is magical when it becomes you're earning $10,000. However, you only need $7,000 to live off of. So you have $3,000 every month as a gap that you can do other things with. You can put it in investments account. And this is the game changer, you all. And sometimes you don't necessarily need to make more income, but you need to make that gap bigger by paying down the bills, maybe adjusting where you live, adjusting your car payments or whatever it is that you need to do to make that gap bigger, or not buying that new car that you wanted. If you can't afford it, if you can't pay cash for it, you may not need it at this point. So, but that gap is something that will help you finance your future freedom, but you need that gap. So if you're earning 10,000 and this is just a number and you're only needing 7,000 to live off of, great. $3,000. If you can cut that down even more, some people are living off of 50%, 30% of what they're bringing in. Imagine that. If you were earning $10,000 and you only needed 3 or 4 to live off of, all of that money can be invested or do something different with that will help you purchase your future freedom and fund your best life. So let's pay close attention to this gap that we're talking about as far as what we have coming in and what we have going out of our household. Okay, here's another golden nugget. You want to invest in assets that can actually pay for your best life. What are you saying, Adrian? I'm saying invest in those assets such as rental property. Once the rental property gets paid off, if you're making $1,000, $1,500, $2,000, $2,500 a month that your tenants are paying you and you don't have a mortgage on that, that money can be financing your best life, right? If you have 2 or 3 of those that's producing that, or 3 or 4 of those, let's say you have 2 that's producing $2,500 a month. That's $5,000 and they're paid off. You don't have a mortgage on them. That's $5,000 a month that's coming into you, into your household, that you can do other things for. It's financing. It could be financing a trip. It could be financing the kids' college. It could be financing whatever you wanted to finance for your future life. So you want to invest in assets that can do this for you. Retirement accounts, 401k accounts, IRA accounts, all of those, brokerage accounts. You can buy and sell stock and finance your future life. So you want to buy those assets that are going to benefit you in the future, especially once you get them paid off, and then they can help you. And even if you have like one house paid off and one rental property not paid off, you can still, as long as you're cash flowing, you can still use that money. You can figure out if it's going to be $2,000 a month, $1,500 a month, whatever it is. You can make that help you on your house note, okay? So, or on your taxes, it can finance things for you, but we want to invest in assets that will do that. Investing in a purse or some shoes is not going to pay you anything, okay? Don't get mad at me. That's just the way it is. Shoes don't pay, and purses don't pay. Golf clubs don't pay. There's a lot of things, tennis shoes, gym shoes, that doesn't pay anything for the future, right? So we want those assets that are paying for our future best life, and make sure we focus on those and invest in those at least first. If I am helping you pay for your best life, hit that like button and that subscribe button so that you can stay up to date on the latest information that I'm bringing to you. I'm getting topics, you guys, that will help you in the future, specifically toward my 45, 55, 65-year-old people that come in and see me. If you have not joined and subscribed, I'm asking you right now to subscribe to the channel. I'm getting more and more information and I'm handing it all to you. I'm sharing what I'm doing. I've done a lot of this stuff before. I don't talk about a lot of stuff that I don't do, right? If I've done it and it's been successful for me, I want to hand it over to you and get the word out to as many people as possible. Stay tuned for more and subscribe and hit that like button. Next up, you want to create a I'm no longer available list. What am I saying? There are some things that's just pure foolishness, and then there are some things that the money just does not make sense. You should be no longer available for keeping up with the Joneses or for those people that are not paying your bills. You should be no longer available for grown people, you going to their rescue. They're grown, they have money, they know what they're doing. They're spending on things that they want while they're asking you to meet the needs that they have in their lives. You should be no longer available for that. You may not be any longer available for the trips that your friends are going on or some activities out there that the money just does not make sense. You don't want to spend money in that way anymore because you're taking away from your future freedom. You're taking away from your best life by doing the things that you may or may not want to do, but you know that you can't afford them right now. And so you may not be any longer available for that. I had to make no longer available for some of these subscriptions that I had. I'm no longer available for that because they're taking away from my money for the future. They're taking away from my money working hard for me as I've worked for it. So sit down and create a no longer available. Sometimes people are forced into this list because the credit cards are maxed out and they don't have any extra money anywhere and they don't have anyone to ask for any money, right? So the trips get cut. You know, the things that they used to do or wanted to do, all that starts getting cut because they don't have an option. If the credit card is maxed out, your card's going to come back. You can't use it, right? So let's make this no longer available list. It's a very sensible list to make. It's a very logical list to make. And you know, I'm very logical, but make this because it will benefit you and your future self. So that you won't feel so beat down with the no longer available list, I want you also to make a yes list. And these are things that you want to say yes to. These are things that you will save for to say yes to. If there is a trip that you want to go on, you want to save for, and it's not going to hurt your future, save for that. You could put money aside for the future. You can put money aside for the trip. It may take you some months. It may take you a year or two to do that. But you can say yes to that and move forward with that. So you don't have to say no to everything, but you can say yes to some things. Just be very intentional and specific about the things that you're going to say yes to so that you can still finance your future, your perfect future. Now with this part, I want you to think about, first of all, I want you to finance your future self and finance your future self first, if at all possible. I want you to imagine yourself at 60, imagine yourself at 70 or 80, even 90 years old. And that person that's 60, 70, 80, and 90, would they be proud of what you're doing with your money right now? Just look at yourself. You know, you want to make that person proud, but you want have that person to be comfortable with where they are at those ages. You know, you will probably make it to those ages. And if you do make it to those ages, you don't want money to be a problem. You want them to smile, look back at you and tell you, thank you for doing the things you did to get me to where I am. Love yourself into the future. Love your future self enough to do the right thing by yourself right now, so that when you get to that person, because you're going to get to 70, you're going to get to 80, you're going to get to 90, and you want that person not to have a financial struggle. You want that person to be exactly where you want them to be. But love yourself at 90, at 80, at 70, enough to do the right thing right now. So when you get there, you'll be proud that I made the right decisions and did the right thing. One thing I do want you to think about, and think about it seriously, if you can afford it, your best life may require a wealth team. And this could be financial planners, it could be tax planners, it could be, of course, doctors, it could be nutritionists, it could be people that will help you get there and get to your best life, feeling your best way, you know, but you may need some help. Strategists helping you strategize your life. All these people, they're going to cost money, right? So these are things that you need to make decisions on. Do I want to spend this money now and get further ahead, or do I want to spend money maybe later? But sometimes we need these wealth, and you don't have to add them all in at once, but choose the ones that you need right now and then go further. As I was adding to mine, I added some at a time, some at a time. And as things came up, I added more and more. Now I do have a wealth team that will help me get to my later stages in age and help me get there healthier and everything. So I'm glad about my wealth team, but consider that, but know that it will be an expense for you to get there. We've talked about quite a bit today. I really don't want to overwhelm you with too much information, but you have enough to sit down and spend some time with yourself, looking through this and deciding what your best life is, and then decide how you're going to get there, what you need to maybe reposition to get to your best life. But you have the information that you need for you to get to that best life. Just go back through the video, jot down some more notes if you need to. Like I said, take a minute or two to sit down to see, okay, what do I need to do? What do I need to adjust? What I need to reposition so that I'm well on my way to financing my best life. And with that, I will see you in the next video.
Go Adrian. Humble, go get it blessed. Let's go.